So we've now come to the portion of the evening where I just have a little chat. And after I'm going to do the song that I attempted last week. Last week, the Wi-Fi went off in the middle of the song. And I was just sat here like a lemon, or stood here like a lemon while the song stopped playing. So I'm going to do that later. But I just want to chat to you just about something that I was looking at today. Back in the day, there was a guy called Saul, right? Now, Saul wasn't the nicest of people. Saul, it actually says in the Bible that he was breathing out murderous threats towards the Christians at the time. Now, if you were a Christian and you saw Saul come in, you wouldn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to go tell him about Jesus. You'd be like, run! Saul is coming, he's going to kill us, because that's the kind of guy that he was, okay? And he actually took it one step further. He wasn't, like, satisfied with the local police at the time dealing with the Christians. He was like, no, I'm going to take this to the high priest and I'm going to say, listen, I really want to go down to Damascus and I want to go get all those Christians. I'm going to herd them all up and I'm going to bring them back, including women and children, okay? I'm not going to leave them out. I'm not going to be all like, no, you're a woman, you're a child, I'm not going to leave you out. No, they're all coming with me. I am going to bring them with me back here and I am going to put them in prison for being Christians. So, nice guy. He was, fun to be around. And he was pretty much just to be feared. He was one of those people that was just filled with hatred. But anyway, the high priest was like, yeah, crack on. So he's on his way to a place called Damascus, which is like modern-day Syria. And he's walking along, and he's like, I can just imagine him sort of sitting, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go get all these people. I'm going to make sure that they come back, and they're going to be in pain, and I'm going to make their lives misery. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be so great. And then, guys, I'm not even joking, right? He ends up having an encounter with Jesus. Now, somebody that hates Jesus so much, and Saul is this person, he hates Christians so much, he hates everything they stand for, and yet he's met by him. Now, imagine if that was you, and imagine if you found out that somebody was going around to different places and capturing people and imprisoning them because they love you and because they want to follow you. Now, you can imagine that your first thought, in a human sense, like as in our reaction, would be, I don't want to go near you. You're just not a very nice person, man. Like I don't want anything to do with you. Okay, but no, that's not actually what happens. And so Saul is on his way, and a light comes down, and he's literally blinded by this light, okay? Think Weekend style, blinded by the lights. That's kind of how it was. He was completely blinded, right? And he's like with these two other guys who are standing there, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And you can imagine these guys probably feared Saul themselves, and they probably weren't even Christians, or they weren't Christians. So it's kind of like looking, and they're like, oh my gosh. And Saul is like, what the heck is going on? And then Jesus says, I am Jesus, the one who you are persecuting. And he's like, oh, flip, I messed up. Right, okay. And he can't see anything. And he's like, okay, what do I do? And so Saul actually ends up being blinded for a couple of days, right? Like, this is some brutal thing. He can't see anything. And so these two men that he's with have to lead him by the hand to Damascus. Now, can you imagine how humbling that experience was? He's gone from, like, the leader of the pack, like, yeah, I'm going to go capture all these people, to I literally can't see where I'm going. Somebody needs to lead me. So anyway, he gets to Damascus. He's blind for 3 days. But in another part of it, there's a guy called, and this is a tongue twister, Ananias. Now, he's, kind of just sitting down doing his thing. And God kind of comes to him and he's like, Ananias, I need you to go to Saul on Straight Street, and I need you to go and heal his blindness. And Ananias is definitely giving a reaction here that is, I would say, is relatable. He's like, okay, do you mean Saul, as in the Saul that is like coming to murder Christians and stuff? Because I'm not sure that's a good idea, Lord. It's kind of a big deal. I've heard about this guy, and this guy is brutal. And God's like, no, yeah, that's the one. I want you to go, and I want you to go and heal him from his blindness. And Ananias was like, that guy, okay. So Ananias goes, and he goes to Saul, and he's healed from his blindness. Now, why am I telling you this story? There is a purpose. Guys, Saul went on to be Paul, and Paul was super influential in our faith as Christians, okay? He is responsible for writing most of the New Testament, okay? And Christians every single day around the world, I literally did it this morning, live by what Paul wrote in the Spirit in the Bible. This is a guy that literally 3 days before this was murdering people who believed in Christ. And it's like, how on earth can the forgiveness of God stretch that far that somebody could be murdering people, imprisoning people for doing something that he wasn't agreeing with, to then being somebody that has been used incredibly and is now probably one of the most influential people that has been in our Christian faith. How? And it's like, yeah, but you know, guys, that is actually the forgiveness of God. And that is actually the love of God. That even when Saul was going around breathing out these murderous threats, was literally imprisoning people, God still had a plan. And sometimes we can feel like Saul. We can be so like, oh, I just hate it. I hate all of this. And I'm so annoyed. And I just feel like this bitterness inside me. And I don't know. I'm never going to be able to go to God anyway, because that's just not for me. But deep down, guys, there is this hole. And it's like this hole that nothing can fill. And you throw everything in it, and you throw old stuff in it. And it's like, oh, man. Like for me, I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. It was my relationship. I was throwing my relationship in there, and I was like, that'll do it. That'll make me feel good. That'll satisfy me. That'll keep me going. And it didn't. And I know for a fact that we're all sat here tonight going, yeah, do you know what? I actually know what I'm throwing in that pit inside me that isn't actually working for me right now. And I've been telling myself it is, but it's not. And you've come to that realization. But let me tell you guys that there is hope, because if Saul can be saved, then so can you, let me tell you. And Paul actually, and he ends up becoming Paul, by the way, Saul and Paul. The name is interchangeable. But he ends up going on to do all of these incredible things. And he says, I am the worst of the sinners, but yet Christ loves me. And guys, that is the love of Christ, okay? And I want you guys to know tonight that there is nothing that you can do or nothing that you have done that would stop him from accepting you and would stop him from loving you. Because let me tell you guys, he has seen the depths of our soul. He has seen the depths of our heart, but yet he still loves. And so I don't want you guys to leave here tonight thinking that no one loves you and that you are not good enough. Because in a sense, you know, with being Christians, we know that we're not, because we need Jesus. But that's the best part, guys, is that he invites us in, even in our brokenness and in our shame, and he says, come here, let me take all that from you and let me give you all the blessings that I have, because I love you and I want you to know me and I want to know you, and I want us to have this incredible relationship where I help you and I guide you and I counsel you and I rear you and I do everything I can to make you better, to make you an even better version. So guys, I just want to say tonight that there is hope, there is a God that loves you, and that nobody is too far from out of his reach. He can literally save like that, but it's our decision. That's why he gave us free will, okay? So we can make that decision to follow him, and I'm telling you now, you can ask any Christian in the room. It is a decision that they would never turn back on, genuinely. And you can ask any of us, you can ask any of the team. I know there are some Christians in the crowd. You can ask us genuinely anything. But the one thing that we will tell you is that we would never go back on our decision that we've accepted Christ, because it was genuinely the best decision ever. So yeah, that's what I want to say tonight. Now, I'm going to see if the Wi-Fi holds up. And yeah, if you have any questions, guys, please feel free to come and see me afterwards or a member of the team. We would love to have a chat with you.